Yo, 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 welcome back to the Further Your Lifestyle podcast, episode number 3. It's so exciting to be here. My name's Chris Furlong, and I am the host of the Further Your Lifestyle podcast. Now, what are we talking about today? Well, I want to start with the statement, if you could take a single photograph of your ideal lifestyle, what would it look like? Interesting, hey? That's what we're talking about today. If you are new here, we do have this on Spotify, we do have this on YouTube, and it is coming to other platforms soon. So make sure you check out which is the most relevant for you. But of course, I'm more than happy for you to just listen along. But if you are watching on the YouTube, there will be a few different, dynamics to the actual podcast. But enough of that, let's get straight into it. So if you could take a single photograph of your ideal lifestyle, what would it look like? And this is a very, very broad, but very deep, and can be also very narrow in terms of type of question that I'm asking. And there's a view that I have personally on this, but I think we all need to understand that with all levels of success, there is a journey that goes with it. I think we all know that, right? But it's never going to be an overnight kind of thing. And I'm sorry, I mentioned this in episode number 2, that, you know, if you're expecting to get to 1, 2, 3, skip a few, 99, 100, that's not realistic, right? It's going to take many weeks, many months, many years, and for some it takes over decades to be where they see as successful. So, but that's okay, right? That is fine. It's just making sure you understand what is coming and what is expected of you. So, it's funny because you can't rush perfection, and it's impossible to. But we all want that perfection, but it's also impossible to be perfect. See, the interesting part of success is, also the reason why we continue to grow is it's forever constantly moving. It's always changing, whether it's personally, you change what you think your success looks like, but also because things change out of our control and we have to adapt and pivot. So for instance, 4 years ago, you may have envisioned that in order to be successful, you needed to put some superstar manager in charge of millions of dollars. Sounds pretty nifty, right? But those 4 years have passed and you're doing this already, yet you don't feel successful. Why? Because naturally, knowingly or not, you're trying to absorb more. You're trying to grow further and become a greater you. We thrive for more. So you can be in control of all this amazing stuff, but if you've been doing it for so long, that success starts to change. It starts to disappear. It starts to move away. And because all of a sudden you not feel like you're chasing something. And this was part of my conversation that we had last time, which was around understanding your end game, but also we need to be working towards something. And just because you hit your success doesn't mean you are going to be happy. You're going to be fully satisfied, because you're going to want to chase something more. So, which kind of leads to the next point, right? There is always this ongoing drive for more. We're natural born thrivers. From birth, we chase the next best thing. You just think of a baby, right? And you watch its need and want for more milk. As we grow, we learn and we repeat. We do the same thing over and over again. We chase something. And it is quite simple, really. It's comes down to that bare basic bones of, we want something more. We want to chase something. Now, the good thing is, and sometimes a bad thing, is you can't put a limit on success. It's limitless. But it's different for everyone, and it's up to you to define it. That is the most important factor to remember. It's up to you to define success. There's a wonderful quote by Ray Kinsella, Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. So a bit of a story I want to share here is, think of GoPro. They're absolutely amazing in what they've been able to achieve, and they've had a few moments where they haven't been that great, but there've been plenty of moments where they have absolutely just smashed it in terms of being the best action camera on the market. And of course, that's open to interpretation and everyone's opinion. But when they released the Hero 5, it was the flagship product for its time. It was what they had envisioned from the very beginning, but it had taken them 14 years to get there. It was the game changer that they needed and the world wanted. It's a simple fact that hard work takes consistency, and like losing weight, you may not see the results within a day or even after 100 days, but the point is you continue to build consistency. You continue to move around, You have to move around your barriers and obstacles, and you continue to hustle forward or push forward or use grit and get onwards and upwards, right? Into the unknown, fighting for your end game. Once again, coming back to that end game, it's super key. So, bit to take in there. So if Furry or Further Your Lifestyle could, or me in this case, because I wrote this originally, if we could take a single photograph of our idea or my idea, what would it look like? Everyone is on a journey towards something. It may be their current goal, a passion, or simply to survive week by week, living paycheck to paycheck. Regardless, they have a target in mind, and that is where they're headed. Further Your Lifestyle, or Furry, or myself, I'm passionate about bringing together a community which is built upon, or thrives from, or promotes passion. The idea is to grow with like-minded individuals to create lifestyles which stands outside the norm. So I've always envisioned a lifestyle for each individual where you don't need to think about getting ready for work. You don't need to think about commuting to work, and you don't need to worry about how the day will flow. I've always envisioned this as a lifestyle of pure open plan. If you have an idea, a dream or a goal or something which you want to tap into and create, I want you to be able to do this and to do it free of mind. And I want you to be able to further your lifestyle, live your passion, and make a living from it. That's what I want personally, but also what I want for others. That's my idea. That's how I envision it. So the best way to picture this idea of living is to place yourself in this scenario. The theory of a successful open plan lifestyle derived from lifestyle design suggests one should make a living from their passion, living and earning around their day and not being dictated by a set of rules. Your lifestyle is a reflection of you following your heart. If your heart is always with the mountains, the outdoors, the wilderness, or simply away from the city, this is your starting point. This is where you should spend your time and make a living around it. Are you a hiker, a camper, maybe a trail runner? You canoe, you trout fish, or maybe you four-wheel drive. Live out of a van, or maybe you study and record the habits and behavior of bears. Whatever it is you like to do outdoors or in the mountains, these are just small examples of what can be made into something so much bigger or big enough to thrive off. So this is an example, obviously, but play it back to yourself and think about the same circumstances or your circumstances and how that fits together. You see, the number one problem we all face is majority of us are doing the opposite. We are doing the opposite to everything that I just said. We are living in a model of doing something our minds are great at, yet only spend our weekends doing the things we love. Let me say that again. We live in a model doing something our minds are great at, yet we only spend our weekends doing the things we love. So what if you were spending all the time doing the things you love? And that's the question to ask yourself, right? Why don't you spend your time focused purely on the things you love and continue to make your living from that? This way, you are literally living and enjoying life, while at the same time making enough coin to fund your lifestyle. Now, obviously, if you're not thinking it already, your next question is probably going to be along the lines of, this is great, but how can I even do this? Or I don't have a successful business or a hobby earning me X $1,000 to a month. That's just unrealistic. Or how can I get there? Or I don't have the money, and the questions go on and on and on. Well, your answer to these questions can kind of be summarized into 3 points. Know your passion, pre-reading or educating, and then start now, seriously, start as soon as possible. So if we jump back to know your passion. And this kind of comes back to episode number 2, which was around understanding your end game and knowing what you're working towards. But knowing your passion, before you can even begin to transition out of your current lifestyle into something new, you first need to know where you will transition into. This is ultimately your passion. So what is your passion? Maybe you need to rediscover, reignite, or really identify what is your passion about. And I've got some educational or some pre-reading that I can suggest to, help you take a step back and to digest and then enable you to leap forward, right? And there's so many books, so many books. And I'll put them into the show notes as well. But before you make a jump, you need to know what you're in for. And the best way to know that is, or find that, or hear that, is to read up on some of the people that have done it before, right? Success leaves clues. And digesting what others have done, or digesting and understanding what other people are doing, will help you really start to kind of put it all together. And it's a bit of homework to do, but I think it will help you. And so for me, the key books which have kind of, I guess, enabled me to take that leap forward, and they're in no particular order, but you can read them in this order if you like, is The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. And you can, all these are in the show notes, so you can have a look. The Magic of Thinking Big, Start with Why, The One Thing, and then there's a few others which will also, once again, enable you to think bigger, think broader, and also in a bit more specific areas as well. So there's The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. Then there's Superfans by Pat Flynn, or Let Go by Pat Flynn. And I'm not saying all the names of all the authors, but you can check all these out in the show notes. But one book that really did stand out to me, which enabled me to just kind of think of the wow, is Elon Musk and his biography, right? And understanding what he's achieved and what he's been pursuing. But there's a whole list of different books. I'm just going to smash them out, just call them out, and you can go and explore for yourself. But the first ones that I've just mentioned, please check them out. Otherwise, these other ones will be very helpful as well. The $100 Startup, People Over Profit, Crush It, Crushing It, Purple Cow, Losing My Virginity by Richard Branson, Tribes, Side Hustle, Tribe of Mentors, Platform, Get Noticed in a Noisy World, and Living Forward. Now, these aren't all the perfect books you need to be reading. These are just my recommendations, and they all bring different unique qualities to them. But if I said you had to break it down to 4 or 5 books of what you should be reading, it comes down to, comes down to The E-Myth Revisited, The Magic of Thinking Big, Start with Why, and The One Thing. Then The 4-Hour Workweek. If you can tackle those, I think that will give you a big enough advantage to really grasp what it's going to take and what is your passion. It's going to really make you think and start to put your headspace into that mind space of bringing out what is that passion you have. Now, you might already have the passion, but this will enable you once again to start to put it all together. So you've done that. You've read the books. So what now? Well, the next part is actually time to get serious. Seriously, you just need to start. And now that you know what your passion is, and now that you have the context and the excitement to do it, it's time to actually start doing it. But you can also start in small increments, right? And that's what I suggest. To start now, this means you need to begin planning. You need to begin designing what that lifestyle, you are after. What does it look like? How will you leverage your passionate combinations or the different tricks of your trade or your talents or skills or whatever it may be? What will you actually bring to life? Will it be a blog? Will it be a product? Will it be a podcast? Will it be a YouTube channel? Will it be a community? Or maybe it's an actual face-to-face business. It could be so many different things. It could be a combination of all those things. But you have so many options. And only you will know one that fits you. So don't forget, you can try a little of something and adapt along the way, which is also what will most likely be required anyway. Now, the fourth point, similar to last time, is there's an optional point, number 4, which is asking for help. And it's whether chatting with myself, reaching out. I'm more than happy for anyone to reach out and let's have a chat. And we can start this journey together, or I can give you some insights or give you some suggestions. But finding a mentor, finding someone that can give you some guidance or direction. But I guarantee you, there is probably something which people are already telling you. It's like, oh, you're really good at this, or you're really good at that. And as you start to really realize that and take ownership of the things that people have already been telling you that you're good at, I think you'll start to realize where your passion lies. But for me, passion has always been about, well, what's the thing that you would love to do every day if money wasn't an issue, or money wasn't an object, or money wasn't a problem? What's the one thing that you would do every day? What's the one area you'd like to focus on? Or if you could define your day, what would that day look like if money wasn't in the picture, if it wasn't something you had to worry about? What does that day look like? And using that, you'll start to be able to find quite quickly, what's the things that you want to create? What's the things that you want to do? And what does that lifestyle look like? Now, it could be as cliche as, I want to play video games. I want to, just go out and run. I just want to do this. But I think you need to be a bit more specific than that, because if you want to just play video games 24/7, I don't think that's realistic. Now, you could be a full-time streamer and stream your video games and play video games like working the 9 to 5, which is fine. But with all these things, there needs to be a lifestyle, right? What are you doing through the 9 to 5, or what are you doing after hours, or what would your day look like? So really think about that on a broader level. Well, there you go. That's episode number 3. It's been so great being able to chat to you once again. And I really do encourage you to just take a moment to digest all this. And if I could kind of go back and just really reflect on some of the areas that I want you to take away and to think about, is a couple of things here. Is remember that the number one problem we all face is majority of us are doing the opposite of what we should be doing, right? We are all living a model of doing something our minds are great at, yet we only spend our weekends doing the things we love. So if you were spending all your time doing the things you love, what would that be? That's really what I want to make sure you're thinking about. And ask yourself, once again, why don't you spend your time focused purely on the things you love and continue to make a living from that? This way, you are literally living and enjoying life while at the same time making enough coin to fund your lifestyle. Now, I know there's steps, there's things that need to happen before that can happen. But I think what you need to also consider is, what are the opportunities there? What are the possibilities there? And really start to identify how you can make this happen. Because dreaming ain't going to cut it. As I said in episode number 2, don't just dream it, do it. So I want to leave you on that. Really do appreciate you being here. Think about this. Leave a comment if you are watching on the YouTube. Leave a comment, or you can, give me, you can reach out, send me an email as well. Or you can reach out on my socials, whatever, however you like. Let's get connected. Let's chat. Would love to hear your feedback. It's been awesome talking to you once again. My name's Chris Furlong. I'm the host of Further Your Lifestyle podcast, and it's been an absolute pleasure once again talking to you. Have a lovely day.